Imagine you're selling a home and something about the buyer just feels off. The documents don't exactly line up, the timeline is missed, and the person representing them feels disconnected. And then imagine weeks later, you find out that the Department of Justice is involved and you just uncovered a mortgage fraud ring. Well, that's exactly what happened to us recently. Mortgage fraud isn't something that you hear about in the big cities or on crime shows. It happens everywhere. According to CoreLogic, 1 in every 134 mortgage applications shows some sign of mortgage fraud. And the FBI estimates that this costs taxpayers and lenders millions of dollars a year. Now, in our case, it started out a little unusual. We had a buyer submit an offer on one of our listings, but it just seemed a little too easy on the terms. And on top of that, the buyer's representative was not a licensed agent. It was a marketing team. Now, from the very beginning, there were red flags, and we raised our concerns, but we were told this was a legitimate buyer from multiple sources. And at first, we felt bad for the buyer. It seemed that they had someone who didn't understand the process working on their behalf. And the red flags started to add up. Delays that made no sense. Information that was conflicting with previously given information. Vague and evasive answers when we were asking hard questions. We even brought up the possibility, is this mortgage fraud? And around every turn we were told, no. And then the phone call that changed everything. The transaction closed, and we thought, well, maybe we were wrong. Until the fraud department for the lender reached out. And they said that this was a sophisticated ring of mortgage fraud. Not only were they involved, but also the Department of Justice. So of course, we gave them everything we had. Our notes, our thoughts, our concerns, the red flags we raised, and they were grateful. The investigators were fantastic to work with. And this drives home the point. Mortgage fraud is real, and you should not do it. I have heard of veterans using VA loans to try to close investment properties when you're only able to use it for a primary investment. And I have heard horror stories of mortgage fraud. But this was the first time that we had a buyer on one of our listings involved in such an act, or to our knowledge. Mortgage fraud is real, and it can destroy lives. The FBI defines it as any material misstatement, misrepresentation, or omission in the mortgage process made to deceive. Convictions of mortgage fraud can result in up to 30 years in prison and up to $1 million in fines. And let's be honest, nobody looks good in that shade of orange. So here's our advice. Trust your gut. If something feels off, keep pushing. Keep raising the concern. Because if nobody listens to you, at least you can say, we tried. If something feels off in the transaction, document it. And as a buyer or seller, always work with reputable, ethical, and local real estate professionals. Because stopping fraud isn't just about the sale. It's about protecting people, lenders, and communities. If you want to hear more stories behind the scenes in real estate, the good, the bad, and the jaw-dropping, just subscribe and follow us on social media. If you're looking at buying in the Georgetown, Round Rock, Austin, or surrounding communities, just reach out. The T. Kerr Property Group and Russ Phillips team are here to help you with experience, integrity, and results. Thanks for watching, and remember, mortgage fraud, don't do it.